Hi everyone, yasas que Carlos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Let's make tapodi stifado. That just translates to octopus stew with pearl onions. You can use pearl onions or shallots. It's such a comforting and rich stew. And if you've never made octopus before, this is my first time making it on the channel. Just follow my instructions. It'll come out so soft and tender and juicy and delicious. It's simple to do. Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna begin with the octopus. So I buy mine already cleaned up really well at the supermarket, and it is frozen. I do freeze it when I bring it home too. If it's not already cleaned, you're gonna have a little bit more work to do, and I can't show it to you today how to do that exactly because I like to buy it cleaned, but I will link another video that shows all those steps down below. So we're gonna begin by cutting off the head of the octopus and then the eyes that are right here in the center. You can discard the eyes and then turn the head inside out and make sure that it's all cleaned out because that's where all of the organs are, and this one is really nice and clean. I'm just gonna chop it up now, the whole thing, and put it in a pot with a cup of water and a few tablespoons of vinegar. You can use a white wine vinegar, a red wine vinegar, or this balsamic vinegar that I'm using, just a little bit. We're gonna bring it to a boil and then reduce the heat to a simmer. Let this cook for about 30 to 35 minutes so that way the octopus gets nice and tender. I'm using 2 today because I'm making this stifado and we want it to be nice and meaty. Once that's done, just set it aside to cool, and now we're gonna get the stifado cooking. So I'm using these frozen pearl onions today. Stifado is traditionally cooked with either these onions or shallots that are a little bit on the smaller side. Whatever you can find is perfect for this. I like using these little baby frozen onions because the cleaning part is the hardest part when you're trying to clean off so many onions, and we're using 2 pounds of onions today, so that would be a lot. These come frozen. I just thaw them out in the strainer and then they're gonna go in the hot pot. You wanna make sure the pot is cooking over medium-high heat. We're gonna add lots of olive oil to this and then the pearl onions. Now, it would have been better, since the pot isn't that wide, to do this in 2 batches. So I took a few onions out once I saw that they weren't really caramelizing, and I put them in a smaller frying pan, and then they cooked up really quickly. You don't want to cook them too much because they are going to cook in the stew, and you just want to get some nice color on these. So once they're nice and golden, we're going to go in with the garlic. So 4 garlic cloves that are grated are going in. Just warm the garlic through, and then 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Warm that through a little bit too. You can add the cooked octopus in at this time with about a cup of that broth. You can do about 2 cups of that broth too. 1 cup of crushed tomatoes or tomato sauce, about 2 tablespoons of honey. You can add a little bit of sugar if you'd like. The honey is going to offset that bitterness of the tomato paste. 2 bay leaves. I'm not adding any salt to this because octopus is very salty. Just some freshly cracked black pepper. 5 or 6 allspice berries, about 2 tablespoons of balsamic or red wine vinegar. I'm using balsamic today. Give everything a nice mix, and then we're gonna bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, put the lid on, reduce the heat to a low so that way it simmers, and this is gonna simmer for about 35 minutes. The stew is gonna thicken and it's just gonna be beautiful. Check it in between, and if it's starting to dry up, you can add either some water to it, or if you still have some of that reserved octopus broth, you can add that in there for lots of flavor, because you still wanna end up with a little bit of sauce at the end of this. This is what it looks like. It's nice and thick. The onions are tender, the octopus is tender, and it's ready to serve. And just like that, the octopus stifado is ready. It's gonna be tender and hearty and warm and so delicious. Let's do the taste test. I wanna make sure I get an onion and a piece of the octopus. It's perfectly cooked, so tender, not at all rubbery, because we did boil it first ahead of time. It's cleaned really well. Now, I'm lucky enough to find this in my supermarket already cleaned. Otherwise, it is a little bit of a labor of love to get it cleaned really, really well. It's not hard at all, but you can definitely do it. And I'll put a video link down below of a video that I've watched that makes it so simple to do. But if you can get them to do it at the market, it's gonna save you a lot of work. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. If you want more tapodi or octopus recipes, post it in the comments down below. Send this with a friend who you think would love this recipe. I love it when you guys share my recipes. And I also love to see your recreations. So if you do make it, share pictures with me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. You can head on over to the website to print this recipe out. Yasas.